Good afternoon, Jane. We have made our way up the South Carolina coast, starting this morning at Folly Beach. We had some pretty gusty winds, some blowing sand, and we had a little bit of rain. One little squall came through. We just had a pretty hefty squall here in the past half an hour. I'd say the winds gusted to about 30 miles an hour, but these things come in fast and they're gone, as you can see on the radar. Let's go to that first, and you'll notice there's nothing now upwind. Remember, everything rotates around low pressure in the northern hemisphere counterclockwise, and you can see the center, the blob of rain, even lightning bolts out over the Gulf Stream and about 100 miles off to the southeast of Charleston, South Carolina. The storm is not moving very fast with the 2 o'clock update north at 3 miles an hour. We expect it to start moving a little bit faster overnight, and all of the global models, the hurricane models, the HWRF, they're all bringing the center on shore tomorrow morning, some before sunrise, some right at sunrise, somewhere on the South Carolina coast. So that means the worst of it is going to be along and to the right, which means part of the South Carolina coast, part of the North Carolina coast. And that's why we have that tropical storm warning up from the South Santee River up to Surf City, North Carolina. That would include Wrightsville Beach, down to Carolina Beach, and then in South Carolina where we are, Atlantic Beach, Myrtle Beach, down towards Pawleys Island. Those are the areas in the watch. Winds may gust upwards of 40 to 45, maybe even 50 miles an hour. Right now we've got high tide here at North Myrtle Beach, 4:38 coming up just around the corner, and then a low tide overnight, another high tide tomorrow morning. So that would be the tide of concern, and the Hurricane Center at this point saying a storm surge potentially on top of normally dry ground of 1 to 2 feet. So we've got some beach here with a high tide. We're getting a little bit of a cut there with erosion, but then we have a really beautiful dune line, and there are the properties, the hotels back there. So no potential issues, no issues with the water getting into homes and buildings. There may be some ponding on the highways because this blob of rain is going to come in and then head northwest up towards Interstate 95 through, say, Fayetteville and those areas. So if you're traveling I-95 tomorrow, I'd say good advice, keep an eye on the radar because you may go through some gusty winds and heavy rain. What's left of Chantal, depending on how quickly it moves. Some of the models don't move it very quickly, and they just kind of dissipated and it washes out. So that's one issue. But the main impact by far is going to be the heavy rain, Jane, localized flooding. In fact, several counties in North Carolina and South Carolina, Horry County here, Georgetown also, Brunswick County in North Carolina, now under flash flood watches, or I should say flood watches, through tomorrow evening. So those are the areas that will get the soaking rain. Maybe somebody gets 4 or 5 inches of rainfall, and the ground is relatively dry in the long term because they're in at least some type of a drought in this part of the Carolinas. Once again, a look at the surf right now, and we've got 4 to 5 footers. Some of the buoys offshore have been up to 8 to 9 feet. Water temperature is in the low 80s, so it's very, very warm, as you would expect here in early July. And we'll be on top of this during this special programming until 8 tonight. And Jane will be back on the air first thing in the morning at 6 a.m. Eastern to show you what's going on. By that point, it may be in, and we may only be dealing with some residual trailing squally bands and some gusty winds, but the winds eventually will go offshore. And that's great for surfing. The surfers will love that. Offshore wind will clean up these sets. It's been more of a wash tub today along the South Carolina coast.